And we are recording Mr. Mo season 8. We are
We're 8 years old.
8 years old. We are now officially old enough to, as a podcast, to hit the Epstein Island. Woohoo!
Oh, jeez. Yep. We're halfway to our sweet 16.
That's right.
So start planning. I would like a convertible. Thank you.
That's right. And we're more than halfway there to our quinceañera. That's 15.
Quinceañera.
That's
Shh,
15.
don't say that too loud. Ice is listening.
That's right. That's true. Knock down the door. And I forgot I have to show you something here. I've been playing around with my little audio machine because all this time I
Okay.
never realized I could do this. I got auto-tune, dude. It auto-tunes my voice. Now I'm going to go to D flat. Come on. The button's a little stuffy though. There we go. D major now. Hello. It is me you're looking for. My friend. I don't know the words of the song.
Oh, is this hello, it's me, Adele. You know what's funny to me is that Adele wrote that about this guy she was like talking to. He moved to the West Coast.
I was talking about Lionel Richie. Hello.
Well, just about
flat.
She wrote this song about calling this guy who relocated, and there's like a 9-hour like time zone difference. Of course, he didn't answer when she called because he was probably asleep.
He was asleep.
Oh my God.
Women. Anyways.
Women. That's why I suck dick. Nom, nom, nom. Suck up a hiccup.
We're back, baby. We're going to do this in 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge.
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the Frat Chat Podcast.
All young men like 3 things. Food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the first edition of season 8. My goodness, for the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with Chris CMO Moore, still blowing his nose into a new season.
What's up, man? I'm good. I just got back from Milan, and I stood on the scale at the gym this morning, and I was like, nope, this is not good. This is not good.
You've been having a Emily in Paris the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you've been seeing the new season. It takes a lot in place in Milan itself, in Italy and shit. So it's sad that I know that, but my fiance is a huge fan of that show, and so I watch, and it's not bad. It's pretty entertaining little flick. Which I have to say, comedian Mika Mo does some hilarious bits about how Emily gets around in that show. I'm not gonna lie.
Is Emily a big hoe?
It's kind of. It's called Emily in Paris, but it should be Paris and Emily, because good Lord.
I was not a hoe in Milan. I was very busy with work. There was no time to be a hoe. I'm not really like the hoe type.
Yeah, that's good though.
I'm like chronically monogamous.
Well, especially internationally, you never know too. You can catch some weird STDs out there that might not even exist in America, and vice versa. You could spread the plague out there.
Yeah.
The former crab destroyed our government. It ate us from the inside. Those American crabs. You just never know. It's best to not touch. Just look.
Yeah.
But anywho,
I'll even look.
Yeah,
and you know what? I didn't experience it this time, but the last few times I've been to like different like trips. Let's say I need to like take the edge off. I need to rub one out. Looking up like porno in other countries is very difficult.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
CMO.
especially in a different language.
Or like Twitter has restrictions. I'm like, what?
Oh.
And then they're like, sign in with your name and your date of birth. I was like, oh, I don't want to do all that. I don't want people to
Oh.
know what I'm looking at. I look at some freaky stuff. Tentacle porn in Japan.
Hey, you haven't lived until you had some tentacle porn in Japan.
You know? I was like, oh no, this could be a dry spell for me. What's new with you?
Life is good. Life is good. We are rocking into a new year. Got a few shows coming up that the people could check out. If you're in the New York City area, we'll be at QD Astoria for another edition of Just Kidding. Oh, yeah. February 25th and March 25th, because of the leap year, I think, that we have in. It lands the fourth Wednesday of the month, lands on the same day.
No, a leap year is when it's 29 days. We have 28 this year.
28. Okay. Well, thank you for teaching me something.
Thank you, TikTok, for teaching me stuff.
So 25 and 25. You can watch this then. I will also be at New York Comedy Club for a really fun show with the one and only Mike Brigante. And then last time I was there was when I opened for Mark Normand. So not saying he's going to be there because I'm not sure the lineup, but that is the show he frequents. So he might be there again. And that will be March 16th, 7 p.m. You can, in between that, I'm going to actually pop up into Mallory Bryant's show. I'd like to 10 p.m. shows don't get enough respect, but I'll be at the Grizzly Pear for that March 4th. And March 1st, I'll be doing a little fundraiser. I don't have enough info yet to plug, but keep an eye out for that. Me and our boy Ron Pernamano are in that show. So got a couple things coming up. Excited to do them, but most of all,
well, you're busy.
I'm a busy boy. Got some acting stuff coming up too. Yeah, this is so far. It's January was very slow though. Don't get me wrong. January is like the scariest year for any entertainer. I feel like because people are just tired from the holidays. Projects haven't ramped up yet, and I was stressed. But it's good to see February and March are looking good. So got to keep rocking. It's good times. But most of all, I'm excited to be back here, Mr. Mo. We got a hell of a show. We got a fantastic episode. And next week, we're talking Epstein files, people. So make sure you come back because we got a hell of a.
What's that?
Yeah, that's right. They don't exist.
Epstein files, not in Trump's America.
That's right. Though they keep deleting them. So maybe by next week, there won't be any left.
It's so crazy. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, people on the left, like our Democratic leaders, honestly, I think they suck. I'm sorry, but like, I'm so annoyed. And I feel like on the right, they're so united. And I don't agree with them. But like, whenever any of the big wigs, any secretaries of whatever speak, there's always the same line of messaging. They're always they're always like, under Trump's leadership, blah blah blah. Under Trump's leadership, blah, 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 blah.
World War II shit, like the Fuhrer, and then that's what they would say about Hitler. Oh, the Fuhrer invented this, they did that. Thanks to the Fuhrer, we have everything. North Korea, same shit. That is exactly what Trump wants and likes.
It's crazy. Freaking pedophile sympathizer.
So I'm glad we're not like that, though. I don't fucking.
But I guess my point is that like
how do you beat that?
So the right will say, so a lot of Republicans are like, the left, they like pronouns. Fuck them. They're horrible with their pronouns. And then the left is like, well, we don't love ICE, but maybe we should give them more money for more training and more cameras. And let's write a strongly worded letter about the fact that, whatever. Like, the right is clearly a bunch of pedophile sympathizers, but the left doesn't fight as hard as I want them to. It's so frustrating. Like, I'm like, Chuck Schumer, like, Hakeem Jeffries said, "What are you doing? Like, call
No
them out on their
business.
bullshit. They call us out on some bullshit. Call them on some bullshit." And I
I
also
mean,
feel like before next week, Biden had an opportunity to release the Epstein's files and didn't.
well, not true, not true. They were under appeal for most of his term until maybe like the last like 2 months. So Ghislaine Maxwell appeal ran out literally right at the end of his term. So while that's going on, there's no way he could have released him unless he wanted. I mean, if Trump probably wouldn't have given a fuck because he likes to violate the Constitution every day, but that would have been a violation.
Well, I also think that Biden should have tried a little bit harder
But he
with
also didn't even run on that. You know what I mean? Like he was trying to fix the fucking infrastructure, which he got done, and the economy after COVID, which I'm not gonna lie, he did as much as inflation was up from post COVID and the war in Russia and all that shit. I mean, he still led the economic recovery in the world, and people don't give him credit for that shit. I'm not saying he's the greatest president in the whole in the history of the universe because he by far isn't, but he left Trump with a pretty damn good economy, which he now
correct,
touts all the time. So
right.
I would argue that at the time, even and note that the party still lost re-election because people were not happy. Imagine if he would have not focused on the economy as much as he even did. So I don't know. I think
But
for
I
him,
still think
he still couldn't have done it, and it's like, what are you gonna? What's he gonna do? You know
okay,
what I
but on a
mean?
different note, I still think that Biden should have his administration should have tried harder um to hold Trump accountable for January 6th.
Oh,
And
yeah. Well, I
and
mean, they dragged their feet. That's the problem. Once they did, it was too late. Because Trump was already running, and the Republicans also decided to stalwart every step of the way. So, I mean,
mhm.
that that son of a bitch has blackmail, and now we know why. The files are coming out, dude. So now we know why these motherfuckers. And no, there's with the 3 million files. That was only like 2 or 3% of the files. There's still a fuck ton left, and they're saying they're not going to release anymore. They're not going to prosecute anymore. But anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's next week's topic. Let's move on because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, frat chatters of all ages, we got to hear from you. It's emails from the listeners. Oh, yeah. And we got some good ones. I got Mike from Hoboken, which is amazing. First time I got another Hobokener right in. Mike, I'm going to walk around Hoboken to see if I can find you. Not in a creepy way. Maybe in a creepy way. I don't know.
What do you think he smells like?
Probably a deli, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Taylor from Portland, Oregon on CMO's side too. So we got some good ones. Why don't you go first, Mr. Mo?
Okay, so this one is I think one of the more intense questions I've gotten. And I think that this is probably relatable to a lot of people. So Taylor writes, "Dear Frat Chat,
Oh.
my family spans across the states and we tend to meet once a year for a family reunion.
Mm.
This year, I'm hesitant to go because we're all very politically divided, and two of my cousins were just recruited by ICE. I want to distance myself from ICE, but I'm conflicted because they're family. My parents asked me to please put politics aside for just one weekend, but I don't think I can. Do you guys have any advice for me?"
Put
Taylor from
politics
Portland, Oregon.
aside for one weekend. Meh. Yeah. Listen, dude. This is ridiculous. Kidnapping people is not politics, man. ICE is not political at this point anymore. I'm pretty sure they're going after anybody that looks brown. Look at the Latinos for Trump's getting arrested left and right. This is at this point, this is not a left or right. This is a human rights issue.
Totally. We don't have like I sometimes I talk to people at work and I'm like, I don't think we're politically divided. I think we're morally divided. So if you support this and this, then you're just a bad person. I don't care what political affiliation you are attracted to or you identify as. I just think that you are a shit person.
Totally. Especially because if deporting people is the goal, Obama deported more people than Trump did.
Correct.
And he did not start the fucking Fourth Reich doing it. He did not violate, like this isn't, there wasn't the violence to see on the street. There wasn't American citizens getting shot in the fucking head. Like there wasn't fucking untrained morons out there with happy fingers on their trigger. She's terrifying citizens. Like what the fuck is going on? So if you want efficiency, you voted for the wrong guy because he's fucking that up too. Cruelty is the point, and he's using ICE as his personal SS. And he even so saying that there's going to be ICE around the voting polls in November, which is literally what fucking Hitler did with the SS to intimidate people. So it's like they say, don't call us Nazis. Well, stop doing the same shit that the Nazis did, dude. Like, and this is all Stephen Miller and his creepy fucking weirdo testicle looking ass. Like that guy sucks so fucking much, dude.
You know, he also
God.
kind of sounds like this when he talks a little bit.
Yeah. And added with a little bit of this, like it's like a he's a fucking dude and a loser.
Wife's a total cunt. I think I have a couple of things to say about this. One is Taylor. If going to a family reunion to catch up with your extended family brings you joy, I don't think you should not go because of these two losers. If anyone shouldn't come, it's these two ICE agent losers,
Yeah.
And I think that if it was me personally, I'm not saying do this, but I'm just saying I just know that I would probably still go and I would embarrass them out the wazoo. I would make it so uncomfortable for them to just prove a point that they are part of a shit organization. Now, that being said, I have an unpopular opinion. Although I think that all ICE agents, I think, are trash. I think we should abolish ICE. I don't think we can amend it. I don't think that we can reform it. I think it should just be done. Because I think that what happens is ICE has single-handedly made Americans lose faith in all law enforcement. So I think that ICE is counterintuitive to like any law enforcement initiatives. But my unpopular opinion is, although I think agents suck, I think that the institution sucks more. And so I actually hold like Kristi Noem and like the institution more accountable than the individuals, because if you're from bumfuck America and you have no opportunities to make money to support your family and someone's dangling $50,000 sign bonus over your head, I can see how some people will be attracted to that. I'm not defending it. I don't agree with it. I don't think you should give up your morals to be part of an organization. But I do see how some people can do that in the same sense that some people join the military because they promise like financial security. And so I think
But
that
at the same time, they're also hiring a bunch of Proud Boys and shit who are just fucking like there to literally shoot people and be assholes. So
the
I
vetting
hold
process is horrible. I hold everyone accountable, but I hold Kristi Noem the most accountable. And so
of course, from the top. But I say 60-40 because at this point, if you're one of those people like you know the ones too, the people who are fucking agitating protesters and shit and shooting people and just harassing, like that is terrorism at this point. So and they know it. That is, and so at this point, you got to hold them both accountable. But I will say to anybody considering going for that bonus, you should look into this bonus. Because here's the thing. You get 50 grand, supposedly, right? But you get it if you complete 5 years in ICE. You know what's in less than 5 years? An election. So keep that in mind. You might not last.
I didn't know that.
So you might not last the whole 5 years, and a new administration comes in and clears house. So keep that in mind. Number 2, you get 10 grand for each of those 5 years, but they're subject to taxes. So that 10 grand quickly becomes more like 5 grand each year. And again, you get paid out at the end of 5 years.
That's true, because bonuses are taxed at a higher rate, of course.
So 50 grand after taxes, you're really looking at 25 grand right there. And 3, and most importantly, if for whatever reason you get fired or you don't make it your full term, you are liable to pay this money back. But you're not paying it back at the after tax rate that you received it. No, you have to pay it back at the pre tax rate that it's worth. So you would get 25, have to pay back 50, essentially. So you'd be 25 grand in debt because of the government. So note, there's just like everything in the Trump administration, just like all his workers back before he was president with his buildings that he didn't fucking pay. There's always a caveat. There's always a reason. There's always a way to fuck people over on his promises. So if you're there believing you're going to get 50 grand, holy shit, I have a bridge to sell you. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. But anywho,
I did not know that. But Taylor, I think you should go if you want to see your family. Just avoid those fucktards and like just I don't know, make your life miserable. Make sure that you're surrounded by the people that you love and just don't associate with them. And then it's fair to say, like, listen, I don't agree with what you're doing and I just can't be associated with it. So please respect that I need distance from you. And let
yeah,
let them be embarrassed for their decisions.
totally.
And tell your
Totally.
parents that it's not like we said earlier, um, we're not putting politics aside. What they're asking you to do is put your morals aside, and that's unacceptable. You let your parents know that this is a different day and age, and I don't appreciate that. Your
Totally.
parents are wrong in saying that. I'm
This shit is
sorry.
un-American. What they're doing is un-American. Asking people
Yeah.
for papers and shit. Literally asking people for papers. Like that is how
Mhm.
they just walk up to a brown dude. They could walk up to me. Where's your papers? And now they're arresting American citizens. They're hurt fucking. Come on, people, wake up. So, yeah, it's un-American as shit. But anyways, for my next one, I got Mike from Hoboken. And he
Yo,
says, "Hey,
Mikey.
frat chat boys." Yeah, buddy. He goes, "Love the show. You guys have great banter." Well, thank you. So,
Aw. Aw. Thanks so much.
so there's the Turning Point USA All American halftime show happening at the same time as the actual Super Bowl halftime, and they picked Kid Rock to headline it. Yeah, that Kid Rock. The guy whose old 2001 song, Cool Daddy Cool, literally has lyrics about liking underage girls. And he puts the lyrics, young ladies, I like them underage. Some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. Ugh.
Ugh,
And now with that
gross.
resurfacing, just as he is being hyped as his wholesome family values alternative to Bad Bunny, people online are losing it. So, I need your totally respected and not dumb at all takes. Is this the funniest or the dumbest cultural clash moment of the year? A lame rocker with gross lyrics getting politically repackaged as family entertainment? Are we all supposed to pretend that Kid Rock is cool now? Because I say that dude is lame and sounds like a dad trying way too hard to be edgy. And seriously, what do y'all make of the fact that the super creepy "I like him underage" line is back in the news right as this thing drops? Mike from Hoboken. Well, first things, the underage thing, I do say it's right on brand for the Epstein Files halftime show extravaganza. You know what I mean? Like it makes total sense to me. You look at the people behind this show, and they're all over the files. So it is fine. I gotta say, you know, it also makes sense that it is the Turning Point halftime show. You know, because after 5 seconds, it'll be your turn to point the remote at the TV. It's like, this shit sucks. What the fuck? and I know that we're recording this the day before the Super Bowl, so this will actually come
Mhm.
out the day 2 days after it airs. But still, the same amount of people will have watched it. Get it? Because it's shit. It's gonna be awful. This is gonna be the worst show ever. Uh,
Horrible. Okay,
no
so
one's
I
excited.
okay, you know, like when you're on the train and let's say you walk into an empty train car and it smells like shit, like literal shit, or maybe a little hint of like body odor with another hint of like the day after a night of drinking. It's like that, not like alcoholic smell.
So
Um,
you've been to Brooklyn, I see.
Correct. So that smell I experienced one time at a Dunkin' Donuts in the
Oh,
South Loop of Chicago, and lo and
oh
behold, it was coming from the one and only Kid Rock. And so
no.
yeah, so I walked in this Dunkin' Donuts and I was like, "Oh my god," and my coworker's like, "Oh my god, you know that is?" And I was like, a homeless person?" And they're like, "No, no, 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 it's Kid Rock." I was like, "Really? That's
That
unfortunate." So I
is
guess he has, like,
gross.
some bus or whatever pulled outside, he stopped in for, like, a snack, but he was disgusting.
Ew.
Disgusting.
Ew. Kid Rock. Ugh. It's like you really don't have anyone better. Like Kid Rock hasn't had a relevant single since like 2009. And he's not like, for example, like a Paul McCartney, like it's like a legend. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's nowhere near that. It's just sad. Like if you watch him at the RNC, that performance, and you see all like, like JD Vance trying to like headbang to look cool and all these old people dancing, like you could tell they have no idea what to do. They're just trying to fucking like suck up to the great leader by pretending they enjoy Kid Rock. And that's when you know it's just a sad cult. And it's sad to watch. Like,
Do you think he's that talented? Honestly?
no. If you have
Because
to
like
pretend to like Kid Rock, your life isn't as enjoyable on the other side of the fence as you think it is, people. I'm just saying. Like, that's
he
like,
had that
oh,
duet with Sheryl Crow and she sang circles around him, the song called Picture.
yeah,
Um,
that wasn't bad. I mean, back in the day,
he did
he
okay,
wasn't
but like
terrible. Like I used to enjoy Kid Rock in 1999 as a sixth grader. I had his CDs. He did the Undertaker's theme song for a while in
with the ball,
WWE.
the bang bang, whatever, something like that.
With a Ball was fucking cool back in the day, but that was in 1999. I was a sixth grader back then. You know what I mean? Like times have changed, people. Like it's just sad. It really saddens me to see these old people who didn't like Kid Rock back then, but now pretend they like Kid Rock 20 years after he was cool, just to fucking kiss up to the great leader. So people, come on. But
He
anyway,
embodies what I expect someone to look like to storm the Capitol.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
You know what's funny is like I have some coworkers who love Trump. I don't understand why, but I'll ask them, what is it about him that you're so drawn to? And they'll
Well, to
say,
be fair,
I
I
like
told you I told you not to get that part-time job at ICE. You know, they're gonna find a lot of people that love him there. So I told you it's not a good summer job, but you wanted that double income, and here we are.
I want to feel like a man.
That's right.
I want to hold a gun. No, I I ask my coworkers sometimes, I'm like, what do you like about him? And some of them are like, I like that he's a real American. And I'm like, oh, so that he's overweight? Is that define an American? No, no, no. He's like a true patriot. I'm like, really? Because I feel like um uh Donald Trump and his like loser friends, does being an American mean that you have to hate Americans that don't look like you or don't think the same way as you? So I think that like their idea of patriotism is hating the majority of Americans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway,
that's the point. That's the point. It's like the Nazi shit. That's literally what they're labeling after. And this time it's the minorities, the trans. I mean, just like the Nazis, the trans, the gays, all those people went to the camps too. It wasn't just Jews, you know? So now the Latinos are the Jews, and, you know, the rest are still looped in though. So you
yeah.
can be bunkmates in the camps.
Okay, let's go.
It'd be cool. Anywho, we got ourselves time for some news. Oh yeah, because ladies and gentlemen, I got the coldest scandal to ever happen to a warm body part here at the Frat Chat Podcast. Because first things first, gotta hit that.
Ba-da-dum.
Yeah. At the Winter Olympics, I don't know if you've heard about this. There's a little bit of a scandal that
Oh,
been dubbed as Penis Gate. It's a true story where reports surfaced about athletes using medical treatments on their gentlemen's equipment, if you know what I mean, to deal with circulation issues from the extreme cold. Translation, it was so cold out there that even their Olympic dreams needed a winter coat, if you know what I mean. I would have been cool because I'm already double coated, but they needed protection down there. So suddenly the headlines aren't there, not about gold medals, they're about golden rods. And sports fans everywhere learned more about frostbite prevention than ever wanted. And here's where the story gets somehow crazier because, like I said, these injections were not about vanity. They were about blood flow issues down there and frostbite prevention. You don't want your dick to fall off, I guess. It turns a little blue and it's like, pew. Maybe that's what happened to Harvey Weinstein's dick. You know, that's why I look like that. He went skiing out there.
Yeah.
His dick looks like the Nazis that burn at the end of the Indiana Jones movie when he touches the grill or whatever. Like that's what his dick. But in extreme cold, circulation to certain extremities can drop fast, which is bad for health, and even worse if you're trying to have a family one day. So some athletes reportedly used vasodilators to keep blood moving, basically telling their bodies, hey, don't abandon ship down there. We still need that guy. But critics started whispering that if you're boosting circulation in one area, you might actually be improving overall blood flow, warmth, and endurance, which could mean a literally tiny competitive edge. It's very cold out there. So nothing says Olympic controversy like, is it performance enhancing or performance enhancing, if you know what I mean, to inject your wiener. So now it's not just a medical story. It's like a sports ethic debate where commentators have to seriously say phrases like lower body circulation advantages. And the IOC is over here, the International Olympic Committee, texting skis, wax, and urine samples while the internet is asking if they literally need a new category for PEDs, performance enhancing dongs. So this shit has turned elite winter sports into a biology class that no one signed up for, where the real race wasn't just down the mountain, it was against Mother Nature trying to turn national treasures into popsicles. So truly the coldest, boldest scandal in American history. And for that, we salute you. But not with the 6 o'clock salute. No way. What do you think about this, Mr. Mo? Is it, do you think it's an advantage to inject your ween?
I don't. Let me just first start by saying you can't get a needle close enough to my penis without me rocking your shit. No way.
That hurts
I'm not
so bad.
opposed to shots. I love science, but I don't want anything touching my ween except
Yeah, I
for
would just put
me
a
and
sock down
whomever
there.
I'm with.
You know?
I do think though, like in the Olympics, sometimes people win by like 100th of a second. So like if this could improve your performance, I guess I understand it. I don't know.
But at least I feel like these guys are like the jumping skis, so maybe it just like makes it look like a more majestic shape if you have like a raging boner as you float through the skies. It's like, look, he's doing a 3-headed starfish. It's like, so maybe, or like a huge dong, just weighs you down the hill, you know. It's like, I've never seen a dick that big. Look at him go, boys.
Yikes. That's crazy though.
Yeah.
But I mean, what can they just I wouldn't want again a needle in my dick. But could they just
Especially at that
make it
time.
mandatory for Could they make it mandatory for everyone, just to make it fair? If there's a chance that you get frostbite on your wing, can we just say, "Okay, everyone, like, better safe than sorry. I'm sorry, it's uncomfortable, but everyone has to get the shot so that no one has a competitive advantage."
Oh, I feel like that would really lower recruitment numbers for that sport. If at the end of the
Yeah.
tunnel, you know that there's a needle to the dick waiting for you. I don't know if I'm signing up for that summer sport. Let me tell you. Fuck that. I'd rather take wrestling and have some guy stick his fingers in my ass or something. I don't know. This is weird.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
So that's just me. But yeah. I guess wieners are always on top. I meant winners. Winners are always on top. So we salute you. But anywho, time to move on to one of a segment that we miss so much. that I guess next week we don't need to do since the whole thing is featuring the Epstein files. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
maybe not the drag queens altogether. But we have our grand return to
Not the
drag queens because for a grand return, you'll see a story where someone does some awful stuff. And of course, that person is not trans, it's not an immigrant, it's not a Muslim, it's not a radical leftist, but it is someone who you might expect a MAGA aligned Republican. Oh God, who could have ever told you that? Womp, womp, womp,
Womp
womp.
womp womp womp.
Yeah, right. We gotta hit him with the womp womp. There you go. They got a little womp womp. But anywho, yeah, this is what I was looking for. William Bill Carnes, the foreman, Nye County, Nevada Republican Central Committee Chairman. Wow, that's a mouthful. Nye County, Nevada Republican Center Committee Chairman. He was arrested January 31st, so a week ago, as of this recording, on a warrant accusing him of preparing and distributing child pornography materials and illegal weapons charges, including allegations tied to using the internet to distribute sexual content involving minors and possession/assembly of unregistered or illegal firearms. His bail was set at $45,000 and he was released that day. And of course, look-see poo through his social media unveils that it's filled with a bunch of unhinged MAGA content, like anti-COVID vaccine conspiracy shit, super hostile towards Muslims and quote-unquote woke liberals, which matches the broader online profile people have noted. You can see posts on X and shit about the arrest. He's not unfamiliar with law enforcement because past arrests include allegedly impersonating a Las Vegas officer in 2015, which is so sad. Like, imagine being so lame. You have to cosplay as a police officer. Like, we already have ICE in America, dude. You could have just fucking gotten a job. You would have been cool.
Correct.
So, once again, when you peel back the layers of the whole protect the children bullshit, you don't find that many drag performers or trans people or immigrants in there like that. You find yet another loud conspiracy posting MAGA guy with a history of sketchy behavior, now facing child exploitation and weapons charges. And funny how that keeps happening. Turns out the real danger is in story hour at the library. Again, it's dudes that scream about wokeness while projecting harder than a goddamn IMAX theater. So, once again, my friends who like to scream about the drag queens and the gays, whatever, the call is coming from inside the house. And
Correct.
next week, you'll find out just how much so. So come back for our Epstein Files episode. But holy shit, people.
If I had the choice, if I had children and I had the option of either letting a drag queen babysit my kid or a right-winged elected official, statistically, I'm a bad parent if I allow my child to be unsupervised with a right-winged conservative Republican elected official or church leader. I would be negligent if I would allow that to happen.
If a priest even offered to babysit, I'm already gonna have questions. Like, what? Isn't that outside your fucking realms of job, buddy? I don't think the babysitting is something that you should be doing, motherfucker. So yeah, no way. No way. Meanwhile, I would totally out of those three, 1,000% go with a drag queen. Fuck yeah. I wouldn't even have to think about it. Like, it would be like they would show me the other two and the drag would be drag queen. Easy. Like it's like back in high school, like when you're picking teams in sports, sometimes I was picked last. I was a little chunky. Then I was in better shape, and I was picked earlier. The drag queen is not the fat kid in this case. Drag queen's coming first.
Drag queens would probably say, let's have some fun arts and crafts. Whereas a conservative elected official will say, let's play house, don't tell mom and dad.
Totally. If you have a daughter, for example, hanging out with a drag queen would probably be the best day ever. You learn
Oh, of
makeup and shit. You know
course.
what I mean? Like you're
Of
playing all the
course.
shit. I don't give a fuck. Like drag queens would be so fun. So you're good. Meanwhile, daughter, my little daughter with some fucking Republican guy. Fuck no, dude. I'm gonna fight that motherfucker. Whoo! But anywho, oh boy, Mr. Mo, it is time for us to get to it. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, who hopefully are not listening to this, frat chatters of all ages. We got ourselves a pretty heavy topic here this week. So, again, I say this all the time when we have heavy topics. If you're listening with your kids, you're a terrible parent. You're too young for this shit. But my parents took me to see the movie Casino when that came out in theaters. And I think I was like 4 or 5. And I saw Joe Pesci getting beat to death with a bat along with his brother and then buried alive to die there right after. So I've seen some shit as a kid. I get it. No,
Well,
not
today's
traumatic.
heavy topic, you might think, what's heavy? Nope, it's not Donald Trump's vagina neck. It's not his belly. It's a different kind of heavy.
Different kind of heavy. This one will
Yeah.
not break the scales. This is a different type of heavy. I agree. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing back a little topic that you guys seem to love, you sick fucks. Welcome back to another installment of your favorite recurring nightmare, Awful Hazing Stories, Volume 3. So, if you thought college fraternities had the monopolies on bad decisions, buckle up, because today we're also including the world of sports. We have a little bit of both. We're diving into another edition of the craziest, the dumbest, and the most unhinged hazing stories involving fraternities, athletes, and teams that somehow thought humiliation builds characters. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. So crack a beer, clutch your pearls, and let's get into the wildest team bonding disasters you ever heard. And shout out to our sources. We got ESPN in there, the Washington Post, the Baltimore Sun, and more. I'll make sure to post a little list and episode notes if you're interested. But you can also just Google this shit. The easiest goddamn source of all time. So, we got a good one. Awful Hazing Stories, Volume 3. And if Volume 1 or 2 had anything to say, woo, prepare to get dark, people. So, Mr. Mo, we got 10 wild stories. And yeah, crazy that I actually went to high school at one that takes place here that we're going to read today. That happened after I graduated too, which is wild. You think these stories would be in the old timey days. No. This shit is pretty fucking recent.
Super recent, and maybe you started the tradition.
Yes, it was all me. It's what I brought home from Venezuela. They were like, "Oh, you're so wise. You fingers his butthole with stick."
I was just thinking to myself, like, hazing has been such an issue for like decades. And so like I was thinking, like, why does hazing still persist? And so before we get started, I just have a couple of thoughts, and that is I think that people think that trauma bonding uh equals like brotherhood or sisterhood.
Yeah,
I don't think it does. I think it promotes resentment more than like commitment. So
totally.
I also think that when you have power plus secrecy plus alcohol, it's just a recipe for disaster. I
Yeah,
do think that there's a lot of pressure from alumni to keep traditions alive, especially if alumni are funding these organizations, whether it's sports teams or Greek life. And then I
Mhm.
also think that it's scary to speak up because you don't want retaliation, but also there's just a fear of being the one that ruins it. You know what I mean? Like you just don't want to be that guy.
Right. I agree. And and here's the thing: there's also something that happens every generation where even if a program starts with like stuff that technically is considered hazing, but it's mindless, like it's not as, it's like workouts and shit like that, but it's not, there's a limit to it. You know what I mean? like kind of like the stuff that I did. I didn't think mine was terrible. Some of the stuff you did was really fucked up. It had been not toned down in the sense of making it easier, but like there was just less racism when I pledged and shit and hate in that way. So I think that adds layers to your story more so than mine. But there's always some asshole that just needs to make it a little bit worse for the next generation. And that person either had it hard themselves or they've been dying to fucking do this shit and they're like fucking like little sadists there. And then they increase the heat just a little bit. But what happens every single generation when you keep increasing the heat just a little bit? Eventually it gets fucking hot and you do something just so crazy and so dumb that you fuck it up for everybody and that shit explodes. So I do think that it's that escalation of, oh, we had it harder than those guys. There's always that asshole who likes to fucking throw an extra log into the fire when they don't need to. And then the next year, the person that got it then will be that person, or, like it keeps going and it keeps increasing. It keeps getting harder and more difficult. And eventually it's fucking human torture. And some of the shit that we're going to see now is like literally like worse than torture. So, let's get to them. Would you like to go first?
Sure. So, I have okay. Um, an 18-year-old shows up to what he thinks is a brotherhood event. By the end of the night, he's unconscious. By morning, he's dead. So this is very recent, and there's an article published February 2nd of this year.
Oh
So this
shit!
is yeah,
This
so this
just
is
happened.
just happened. So 3 fraternity members were arrested in the death of Northern Arizona student following a rush event. This was it. So um, normally during rush events, you like try to attract new members to come on board. And you show them like this could all be yours if you just sign this dotted line, And so,
That's right. This wall filled with mice. This could all be
yeah,
yours.
exactly,
You see this
exactly.
broken table? You can have it too.
So
My
typically,
toilet doesn't have a toilet seat. I am a king.
and so like you want to show them, listen, like we have parties all the time. Look at these strippers and all the girls that like flock to our social events and um we're so cool. So it's to me, it's kind of bizarre that they kind of like haste this person before they accepted the bid and like started the pledge process.
Right.
But basically, 3 fraternity members were arrested. What had happened was, this is again Northern Arizona University. He was found dead at a fraternity house after he drank a whole lot of vodka during some sort of like initiation event. And some of the people there had suspected that he may have alcohol poisoning. So some of the witnesses told police that some people started to look up symptoms of alcohol poisoning on their cell phones after hearing this 18-year-old snoring super loud around 3 a.m. So like their spidey sense went up and they were like, something's a little weird.
Right.
So they readjusted his sleeping position and checked his pulse and his breathing. And then about 6 hours later, so this is 9 a.m., the student was found absolutely unresponsive. Uh,
Ooh.
so later, these 3 particular fraternity members were arrested. But the people at the Delta Tau Delta house, they performed CPR on him. And the student still wasn't breathing when the officers arrived. Officers continued life saving measures until the paramedics arrived, but the student, whose name has not been released yet, died at the scene. And so 3 20-year-old leaders from the fraternity. This was like the pledge master or the new member educator. His name was Carter Eslick, which would have been you because you were a hegemon, right? You were like the new member
Yeah.
educator, right? So that would have been you. Um, Vice President Ryan Creech and Treasurer Riley Cass were arrested on the criminal charge of hazing. Lawyers representing each of them did not immediately return telephone calls seeking comment. Home telephone numbers through 3 couldn't immediately be found, so they're kind of like dodging any sort of
Ooh.
public statement. So I guess my question for you is, at what point do you feel like everyone in the room failed this person. I feel like if just 3 of them were arrested, I don't know, I feel like everyone that was involved, if you're a bystander and you could have stepped in and done something, I think
This
that
one's
everyone
tough
involved
one.
might be
This
in
one's
trouble.
really tough because how many people do you know that snore? I know a lot of people that snore. If I walk by a kid who's just sitting there snoring loudly, I would just be like, "Oh, he's a loud snorer." I wouldn't assume he needs help. Now, if I see him like struggling to breathe, that's where snoring is a tough, I need a little more into what it actually looked like. Because I knew a lot of people that snore loud as fuck. Now, if he's like, like then
That's what
obviously you gotta
I
fucking
think he was probably gasping for air. I think that they downplayed it in this article, but I think he was probably gasping for it had been completely out of the ordinary for someone to
yeah.
be like,
If he
let's
was
Google this."
gasping and shit, then obviously you call 911 immediately.
Yeah.
So if that depends on if that kid was gasping and no one called then immediately, like that's right there when it failed. If he was actually snoring, then honestly, it sounds like a tragic accident. So that's why the definition of snoring will be very important. Note that this just happened, so we're going to get more information on this case, which is also, I imagine, why it's lower on the list, even though it involves a death. It's because we will get more onto what actually happened here. Like Simo just said, this is the story that they gave that is probably in the police report that they say that they heard him snoring loudly. So I also want to know if they actually performed CPR on him immediately when they found him, because it's so that at least shows that they care about the kid as opposed to trying to hide it. I want to know, are there cameras there? Did they actually try to help the kid immediately when they figure out something was wrong? Or was this kid sitting around there fucking dying for 6 hours? We were like, well, we don't want to get in trouble, as often happens in these fucking situations with these kids that makes things worse. That's what I want to know. So,
Also, the 20-year-olds,
or that
none of them
part of the judge.
none of them are of legal drinking age. And so whoever supplied the alcohol, I think is also complicit in this. Like it's bad news.
If
Like
I
it's
had fakes and shit, and honestly, like you can't assume that everybody who like everybody had like that brother who would hook you up and help you out. Like I don't think those people should be held responsible if I
No,
do.
I
I'm an
I think
idiot.
you gotta make an example. I disagree because I think that if it wasn't alcohol, if it was a gun, if I illegally gave an underage person a gun and they shot someone with it, then
Different.
that of course it's different, but it's an analogy. So, like, that whoever supplied that is complicit. So if you gave someone that you didn't know that well and you don't necessarily trust, but like you're just trying to do them a solid and gave them alcohol and they're underage, then like listen, like looky cookie, this is the real world. You are in trouble. I don't think
Well,
that it should be
keyword being
charged with
you don't know
murder,
that.
but I do think that there should be some blame across anyone involved. And I do think that if you supply the alcohol, you are involved. Absolutely.
I don't know. That one we can agree to disagree. The person, I don't know, shouldn't do it, but like like for example, if my older brother would have hooked me up with booze to be cool, he would never party with me about it. So I'm like, and then I fuck up. I don't think he should go to jail for it. So it just depends. It depends on the case. Obviously, with alcohol, I feel that way. If it was a gun, I would feel totally different. Or like something with fentanyl or something like that would feel totally different. Um, but yeah, this case is a little early, and I want to find out how much of the story that the police had is true. Obviously, a toxicology report hasn't come out yet. That will be huge in this because it will say whether how long that kid was dead. Because if they're saying that they found him unresponsive but with a pulse, and the toxicology report shows that he had been dead for hours, that will be actually a huge blow to their story.
Yeah.
So, got to say what happens there, and that will either help validate their story a little bit that they actually try to help, or it will completely unravel. So I would say with this particular story, stay tuned, folks, because we will definitely follow up on this. And it's a good start. It's a good start. So
What you got?
I'm going on my voice one. I'm going to take you back to the year 1997. A young Chris Moore had just graduated from his master's degree.
Yeah. I wish I was smart enough to have a master's degree. I barely graduated college with a bachelor's
uh,
in theater.
Don't worry, I have a master's degree and it didn't do shit for me. So, well, actually, I lied. It did get me a 10 grand raise immediately after I got it from work, but then I left the industry that I got a master's degree in. So, kind of defeats the purpose now. But it does sound cool to say that I have a master's degree. So,
Nice.
I'm going to take you to the Oregon or Oregon, however you say it, in 1997. I know that it's divided. Are you an Oregoner or you're an Oregon?
I Oregon Trail. Portland, Oregon. No, Oregon. I think if I'm talking about the game, Oregon Trail, but if I'm talking about the state, it's Oregon.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like a weird thing, but
Yeah.
anyways, we got the Joseph High School football hazing case, which again took place in 1997. So, this hazing incident completely shocked the local community due to its explicit sexual nature and the public setting in which it occurred. So, during a team picnic, upperclassmen singled out a younger football player and subjected him to forced sexual contact disguised as a prank. In quotation marks there. According to school reports, the assault unfolded quickly and escalated in severity. The victim's arms were pinned, leaving him unable to defend himself. And then one senior reportedly dropped his swim trunks, lifted the victim's shirt, and rubbed his exposed genitals against the boy's back. The situation escalated
Ew.
further. Yeah, fucking gross. It escalated further when another senior grabbed the victim's hand and forced it inside the first senior's shorts. Like, what the fuck? School officials later described the event as having taken an abrupt turn. Yeah, no shit. An understatement of the century, given the fucking circumstances. So, the incident was widely viewed as more than a hazing ritual. It was an assault involving multiple perpetrators occurring in front of peers during a public event. So, as a result, two students were suspended from the team. No criminal charges are mentioned in the available documentation, but the case remains notable for the extreme nature of the abuse, which went beyond symbolic hazing or traditional initiation pranks. This is fucking like almost rape, in my opinion. It's sexual assault for sure. This case stands out in the broader context of hazing incidents because it illustrates how quickly peer pressure, group dynamics, and a lack of supervision can result in some serious sexual misconduct. It also highlights the need for vigilant oversight by coaches and school administrators to protect students from harms. Ultimately, the Joseph High School incident serves as a stark reminder that hazing can escalate into criminally problematic behavior, even in the absence of formal legal action. And honestly, I never understood the dudes that were like super comfortable whipping out their dicks in front of other dudes. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how are you gonna hold someone down, put your dick on them? Like, what in the ditty is going on? So,
I'm gonna tell you, at your bachelor party, this is gonna happen.
yeah.
Absolutely. There are some guys in our fraternity that love to be naked. They love to run around
No,
naked.
none of my friends like to do that shit. That's weird.
No, I don't know all your friends. So
Maybe,
I
maybe
just
the
know
people,
that
maybe the people you went to. I know exactly who you're thinking of, and I won't say it obviously on the podcast.
I know
But yeah,
3
there's some
people
dudes
in particular that love to get naked.
that have the
4.
grossest bodies too.
4, but one passed away. So let's say 3. So, I think that, what's interesting about this is, and I have another one similar to this situation, but, I think that sometimes it's downplayed because there's so much funding that the school gets for these sports teams.
Yeah.
These schools might only be known for, like, their football team. And
Yeah.
so if they wanna keep this story under wraps because they don't want to lose any, like, donors or, like, donations and whatnot from the community.
100%.
So, it's horrible. It's so horrible. I bet a lot of this stuff probably doesn't get reported. Sick
Yeah,
fucks.
absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll get to a later case, the one that I said the high school I went to, where this is exactly the case because it's a huge football team. The town loves it, wins states all the time. It's kind of the only thing it has going on. So stay tuned. You will see history repeats itself a lot with these sports teams.
Yeah.
And often it's situations like CMO said, these dudes, they're kind of the heart and soul team, so they get no accountability and things get swept under the rug, which ultimately creates monsters. Look at the Aaron Hernandez story.
Yeah.
Prime example. So,
I
anywho,
I think that hazing obviously hasn't gone anywhere. So hazing still exists. But one thing I think in recent years that has changed, well, a few things that have changed regarding like legal institutional consequences is that I think nowadays criminal charges are a lot more common. I think universities are suspending entire Greek systems, and also like high schools and colleges are suspending sports teams and like marching bands and whatever case may be.
marching band.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what they did with those flutes.
Yeah. Parents are also, in addition to all this, are filing civil lawsuits, and then national organizations are also distancing themselves faster than they had in the past. So
Sure.
who knows what will happen? But speaking of marching bands, my next one is actually a story that we've covered before. But the reason why I'm bringing it back up is because, for one, it's fairly recent, and for two, this death of this student was recently ruled a homicide. Before, it was just kind of like developing story that we discussed. But remember last year we talked about a hazing incident at this university called Southern University, and this is in like a suburb of New Orleans, and the guy's name that passed was named Caleb Wilson. So he was a new member or pledging uh Omega Psi Phi.
Yes, I do.
And so he passed away, but he was also part of the marching band. And so I think he was in school for music, and he had a very bright, promising future. So just to jog everyone's memory, police said that a student from this school was punched repeatedly during a meeting between members of Omega Psi Phi and a group of prospective members or pledges. And so his death was ruled a homicide in this past September of 2025. Um, Basically, three members of the fraternity took turns punching the pledges in the chest while wearing boxing gloves. Uh,
Jesus.
and this victim collapsed after being punched several times, and then later he died in the hospital. So this happened earlier in the year, but 7 months later, the East Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge, the East Baton Rouge Parish coroner ruled Wilson's death a homicide caused by a rare condition that occurs when blunt force trauma disrupts the heart signals and stops it from beating. So after his death was ruled a homicide on September 29th, his family filed a lawsuit against the university, fraternity, and several people. So let's see. I think I have a statement from his family. His family wrote, "Since Caleb's death, we have discovered the horrifying truth about underground pledging, hazing, and the needless loss of life caused by a long-standing and dangerous so-called traditions. We intend to honor Caleb by doing everything we can to end hazing and to work toward building a culture where love, respect, and accountability replace hazing once and for all." So the three men that were arrested, their names are Isaiah Earl Smith, he's 28, Kyle McKinley Thurman, 25, and Caleb McRae, 23. Are these guys a little old to be in college?
Well, if this is an update to the story, it's probably how old they are now.
No. This occurred in 2025. And then it was ruled a homicide in late 2025.
28. I mean, we
So a
had some 25-year-olds when I was active, weirdly enough.
did?
I'll tell you off air who it was, but they got into college late. But 28 is old as shit. You're hazing kids at 28, dude. What the fuck? You're like old enough to be a father.
Well, the younger of the three, McRae, Caleb McRae. He was also charged with manslaughter. Um, so let's see. Authorities allege in an arrest affidavits that Smith, Thurman, and McRae met Wilson and 8 other pledges at a local warehouse on February 26th of 2025. So this is when this happened. Police
Right.
said that Wilson was unresponsive by the time he was dropped off at a local emergency room. His clothes had been changed. So they
Oh,
changed
yeah,
his clothes.
I
So
remember that.
after they basically murdered him, they changed his clothes. And authorities said that the hospital staff had been told that he had been hit in the chest while playing basketball at a park. No. So the national chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity made a statement on their website. They said, "It is with profound sorrow that we extend our condolences on the passing of Caleb Wilson. His loss is deeply felt, and our hearts go out to his family, friends, and all who were touched by him." I think that's such bullshit. It's such a generic, like, this
Shit.
is a big issue. And so,
Yeah.
like, sometimes, I guess when people are young, accidents happen, but these guys weren't that young. And also, like, when you
Eight?
change the clothing, like, that's so suspicious
Yeah,
and
they knew what they were doing.
sneaky. So
That
I
adds
guess
a layer to it for sure.
so, Carlos, my question for you is, what do you think about individual accountability versus the organizational blame? Do you think the organization as a whole should be held accountable in addition to these 3 guys, or do you think it's just the 3 guys?
So in this particular case, you see, this is where I think situations matter.
Yeah.
It's not like the alcohol case where you give someone alcohol and they are stupid with it. The organization knows that this is a tradition where you punch people, and that right there, you lose me. I'm not joining anything where someone's supposed to punch me, because here's the thing about me: I punch back. You know what I mean? I can't sit there and stand there while someone punches me without having the urge to beat their ass. It's just what's going to happen. And also, while in college, I knew a kid who had that exact same condition. And when he pledged, we literally made it known to everybody and said, "Hey, this kid has this condition. Like, any sudden hit to his chest could stop his heart. Make sure, like, this is fucking terrifying shit, and you never want something to happen to him. So he's not to be hit. He's not to be messed with, like, in any way. Don't roughhouse with him in any way like that. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, we weren't hitting kids during pledging or getting hit, because like I said, I punch back. But like, it's like, don't fucking like start wrestling with him. Like, he's off limits in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, don't fuck with him. And it was
Is he
wide
coming
open
to
up.
your bachelor party? Give me a heads up. I don't want to murder anybody.
Yeah, right. No, he's not coming. I'll tell you who that is after the show too. But it's like, these things are widely known, and a lot of the things with heart issues, people don't get tested it enough. So maybe this kid had this and they didn't know. But I'm sorry, if you're perpetrating an event where you're hitting people in the fucking chest, you're asking for it. So everybody deserves. I don't think the whole fraternity chapter deserves a murder trial. I think the kid who did the punching is good to get manslaughter. It is what it is. You killed someone. That's you're stuck with that. Hazing for everybody, and the chapter, something has to happen to you. Like, if you knew about this event, if you planned this event, if you had any, like, if it was 3 fucking kids, like, in this, well, not kids, because this is 28
Yeah, they're
years old.
old.
The young Republican Nazi group chat, is over here. Boys will be boys, JD Vance would say. Sir, he's 35. But in
Yeah.
this particular case, if it was 3 rogue people that had this in their house and no one had any knowledge, then sure, let them go down. But if the chapter knew, and this is like an event that they have every fucking year, then I'm sorry, y'all are stupid, and you need to get at least shut down. And something has, pay a fine, community service, something needs to happen. But there needs to be organizational accountability as much as individual here. So that's where I stand. What do you think?
I agree. I absolutely agree. And I also feel like um there was parts of I almost said training similar, but when I was pledging, I think I was probably in the best shape of my life during pledging because like they worked us out. And
Yeah.
and there was like an element of like I earned this. But if you're just like getting hit, like
Fuck no.
I'm like, well,
What does that even
what is the
mean?
intention? Like, what is the desired like result from this? Because I do think that making people work out, um, I I can see how that can be hazing, but I also feel like, it's like boot camp when you join the military. Like
Yeah,
they work
I
you
thought it
out.
was nice. I liked it. I knew that 2 days a week I didn't have to go to the gym because that's most of what we did. Just
Yeah, a
do
lot of
push-ups and shit.
push-ups, and
I was
so
fit.
a lot of
I loved it.
burpees. So I there were some things that I think left me with this sense of like accomplishment. But
Yeah,
if you're just a literal punching bag, then I don't know what lesson that pledges learning, you
yeah,
know?
nothing. It's just not. It's not team building. It's literally torture, dude. Like you can't fucking go around hitting people like that. Like what the fuck are you doing, man? That's literally torture. Like that is, if you look at the Geneva Convention for how you treat prisoners of war, I'm pretty sure it says a little line in there that if you have someone fucking capture, you're not allowed to start punching them and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can't do it in the Geneva Convention to a fucking a war criminal or some shit that you capture, you probably can't do it to fucking some freshman who's just trying to be your friend. You know what I mean? Like, just saying, dude. So
Yeah. Yeah.
another great story. Well, not great. Good, I don't want to know what to say. It's a great story for the list. Awful story to happen. But anyway,
Another impactful example of hazing
yes,
gone wrong.
there you go. That's good. It's a great story. It's like no, ooh. But anyways, now we're gonna take it over to the ladies because, as we said and we showed way back when in the first season with our women hazing episode, ladies can sometimes do it just as ruthless, if not worse, than men. And in this particular case, also in 1997 for me, from the University of Oklahoma women's soccer hazing case, will show that these ladies, holy shit, can be just as terrifying. So, in 1997, the University of Oklahoma women's soccer program became the focus of a disturbing hazing scandal that blurred the line between team initiation and sexual humiliation. According to player statements and later legal findings, freshman athletes were subjected to mandatory quote unquote initiation rituals designed to embarrass and degrade them under the guise of team bonding. New players were reportedly required to wear diapers and blindfolds when participating in initiated activities. Not helping, Simo.
Oh god. Oh, that's horrible. They they did not like them. No.
No.
Oh god.
Required to wear diapers and blindfolds while participating in orchestrated activities led or supervised by upperclassmen, in with even allegations that the head coach was there and directed portions of the event, which adds to the fucked upness of this. So the ritual allegedly involved players being forced to participate in sexually suggestive demonstrations using food items, such as pretending to blow a banana and shit like that, followed by substances such as whipped cream, honey, and syrup being sprayed on their bodies in a way that was meant to mock sexual acts. Additional activities reportedly included relay style games involving props such as pickles and condoms. You can imagine where those went. And several athletes later described the experience as deeply humiliating and coercive, saying they felt pressure to comply out of fear of retaliation or exclusion from the team, especially if the coach was there. The emotional impact was
Yeah.
significant. One player ultimately quit school altogether and filed a lawsuit against the university, alleging emotional distress and failure by the athletic department to protect students from abusive practices. The lawsuit brought national attention to the case and raised serious questions about oversight with collegiate athletics. And critics pointed to a culture in which hazing was normalized and authority figures failed to establish clear boundaries or intervene when inappropriate behavior occurred. And although the university reviewed the incident internally, of course, the case became part of a broader conversation in college sports about hazing, power dynamics, and the vulnerability of incoming athletes. Advocacy groups cited the Oklahoma incident as an example of how initiation rituals can escalate when coaches and administrations do not actively enforce anti hazing policies. And at its core, the situation highlighted a recurring pattern seen across athletic programs. Young players placed in compromising situations, group pressure, discouraging resistance, and institutions reacting only after lasting harm had already been done. So Simo asks, at what point do you look past the individual and have to blame the organization as a whole, especially if coaches were there, for crying out loud?
Yeah.
So this is crazy, man. I can't imagine having to do all that shit. Like that is again that crosses the line, in my opinion, from hazing to torture too. It's like, what the fuck? That's like the ultimate humiliation. I don't know, man. There's no way you can convince me in any way that that's team building when you see that
I
shit.
I think that like retaliation's the real fear. You know, I think about it like even like in our government today, like a lot of Republicans are scared to go against the grain because um Donald Trump and his like weirdo buddies are so retaliatory and they're so reactive and emotional and like um I'm not excusing these Republicans, but I do think from a psychological standpoint, I can kind of see how some of them would be like, "Ugh, I'm scared to
Well,
experience
Trump
the
has something on them too. That's
yeah.
why as the files come out, you see why. But other people, who knows what that man has on them? I guarantee you he has something very strong on them. Only when people are about to retire do they speak out against him. And even then, it's like a very minimal number. So I don't know, man. I
Well,
don't know.
I have another I'm gonna go out of order on my list a little bit. And this one might seem
Dyslexia.
this one might seem like it's not that big of a deal, but I just wanted to showcase that like Um, hazing isn't just Greek life, it isn't just like ROTC programs and sports groups. This is from Harvard
Wow.
Radcliffe Orchestra.
Wow.
So this is crazy. So anyway, um, this is from 2025. At
Very recent too. Holy shit.
yeah. So yeah, Harvard of all places.
And
As like
Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter.
yeah, like Harvard to me is like the epitome of like collegiate, like
Yeah, I went
um
to Harvard.
prestige.
Don't mess with me. I'm from Harvard. You have to say
Yeah.
it. It's like Julie went to Cornell, and every Cornell student has to be like, I went to Cornell. That's how Harvard is. Harvard. Yes, anybody that went to Cornell, where they went, they'll be like, Cornell, I went to Cornell. Like they really draw that L out. It's like a thing. I don't know. But go on.
Yeah. Well, so at this year's like retreat, I guess they have these little like retreats. The returning Harvard Radcliffe Orchestra members lined up the new members and led them to the dining hall of the camp on a Saturday night. And in the dining hall, the um, older members quizzed the students on the names of the upperclassmen in the club. Like, no big deal. Um, Regardless of whether the students answered correctly or not, the older folks blindfolded them, took them outside, and walked them up and down a hill before returning to the rehearsal space in the barn. While blindfolded, new members were asked to tap upperclassmen once to be given water or twice to be given shots of vodka. And the whole club then exchanged notes with new members sharing their hopes and fears at the start of college and upperclassmen offering advice. So this, to me, it doesn't seem that bad on the grand scheme of things compared to like other hazing stories, right?
Right.
But I just wanted to point out that like hazing doesn't have to be severe to be illegal. So like if anyone's uncomfortable, you got a problem. And so I understand the reality might not seem as severe, but the perception was scary to a couple of these people that reported it. They were like, "Listen, I was really uncomfortable being blindfolded, didn't know what was going to happen. Like I engaged in drinking shots that they want to be made fun of." And so I I see both sides of the story. There's this person named um Roshan S. Chatwal. Um,
Mhm.
he's a member social committee chair, said he did not think the club's activities amounted to hazing and that the decision to suspend the orchestra was offensive to people who actually have experienced hazing, which is just absolutely the worst thing to say. So when you get in trouble with something like that, you need to work with like a PR rep and say whatever you need to um like mitigate the impacts on the community. So this person said, "What we did with freshmen, I view as one of the more harmless things you could do. It was just offensive to real victims of hazing who have actually experienced emotional harm and potential physical harm. When this was a pretty PG standard run the mill initiation procedure that didn't result in any harm or complaints in the moment." If people are uncomfortable, they're not going to say things in the moment. They're going to like
That's true.
chatter after the fact,
That's
So
definitely true.
basically, all in all, Harvard suspended the entire orchestra for the fall semester after this hazing investigation. And what we know is all that we know. Maybe there's more to it, but who knows? So the
Yeah,
suspension.
oh, go on, go on. Sorry.
Well, I'll just say that the suspension indicates administrators found allegations serious enough to shut down a prestigious arts ensemble. And so, why is this notable? It shows that Hayes is not confined to athletics or in high intensity groups, and it challenges assumptions that elite academic or music environments are insulated from coercive group culture dynamics. So, um, I I found this one to stand out from other stories just purely because it's Harvard's orchestra. It's like, what? And
Yeah.
never in a million years would I ever think that these um people would be. I was gonna say these losers. I don't want to say losers, but I was really shocked. I was like, these guys, and like
Yeah.
asking people to memorize facts about upperclassmen, and like quizzing them. That's considered hazing, even though I don't think it's that big of a deal. But on the grand
Well, I
scheme of
don't
things,
think
it is
that's
considered
what
hazing.
got them the hazing thing because quizzing them on upperclassmen shit. A lot of organizations do that. Like
Oh,
that's
totally.
even like the academic. He said there's no hate. You have to know. You take a quiz, and that's how you get into them. So I don't think that's what got them. It was the blindfolding, the booze, and the going up the hill. Which again, the kid had a terrible statement. It is tame in comparison to other hazing, but you're the fucking like orchestra. Like, why do you need to be doing that? You know what I mean? Like I would have never in a million years assumed that if I join the orchestra, I'm gonna have an initiation hazing session, even as mild as it is. Like it's not gonna be in the back of my mind at all. If you join a fraternity, you know that you probably gonna have to do something. You know what I mean? It's like at least something where obviously the ones that are doing awful shit that we talk about here, that's incredibly past the line. But going into it, you think, oh, I wonder if they have a pledge process. It's like because everybody does usually. This is 100%. Like what? It's like joining the mathletes, and then some guy shows up like, "Give me 50 push-ups." It's like what? No, man. So ultimately, I think they would have done just much better if they just did a pizza and ice cream social and let people drink if they felt like it. You know what I mean? Like they did not need to fucking have anybody work out. The band dudes are typically not known to be like the big muscly people. You know what I mean? Like what are
Yeah,
you
but I have
doing?
to say, I do think that Harvard did the right thing by suspending this organization because they made a public statement basically saying like, listen, no matter how like mild or severe this is, like we just don't support or stand behind, or we're not going to give positive reinforcement to anyone that does anything remotely hazing related. So we
Yeah,
had to take
I
a
don't mind the
stand.
suspension in this case. If it was something else, it just again, it's like so out of place for a uh, club of this
Orchestra.
nature, a band to have physical hazing. Like, let them take a quiz and all the members on the history, whatever. That's quite normal. Now making them work out and shit, like, come on, that is not what you join band to do and the orchestra and shit to do. It's like totally like weird in that world, and it's not going to help anybody grow in the future. Like when you go to join the New York Symphony Orchestra, if you fucking try to get the new guy to do 50 push-ups, you're probably going to get fired. You know what I mean? So it's a horrible thing to teach. So I get it, and I understand the suspension, and I think it's good that they weeded it out. I can agree that it's not like the worst thing to do with a kid, but at the same time, like again, what place does it have in the world of orchestras? So I'm with
I
it.
also think that they're probably downplaying it. I bet you there's more stuff involved that we just don't know.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think
There usually
some
is.
upperclassman got a bit of like a power trip and was a little overserved and probably said mean things and maybe asked the new members to do weird stuff. And this is just what this article felt comfortable like publishing. There might be other things that we don't know.
The things they did with those trombones. But anywho, uh, on to the next one. Is it a trombone or a tromboner? Hey.
Heyo!
Okay, now I'm going to bring you guys back over to New Jersey.
Ew, gross. The armpit of
Get
America.
me out of here. No, I just can't. You're cool, New Jersey. This happened in 1992 in the Lodi High School football hazing case, which it's again in 1992. It was a disturbing hazing incident at Lodi High School in New Jersey, which exposed just how far, quote unquote, team building or team bonding rituals inside youth sports could go when left unchecked. So, the victim in this particular case was a teenage football player attending a team football camp. And according to police reports and later court proceedings, teammates targeted him during what was supposed to be a supervised athletic program. However, instead of drills or conditioning, the situation escalated into a humiliating and degrading attack carried out by multiple players. The student was restrained with duct tape, preventing him from leaving or defending himself. And while he was immobilized, teammates forcibly cut chunks of his hair off of him. Then the
No.
abuse continued. Yeah, that's terrible.
I'd be
Man, you
so
cutting your hair.
upset.
And this is like just the tip of the iceberg. The abuse continued as players then smeared feces and peanut butter over his body, laughing and encouraging one another as the incident unfolded. The victim later reported feeling shocked, embarrassed, and traumatized with the experience, and his family contacted authorities after learning what had happened, prompting a police investigation that quickly revealed the assault involved a large portion of the team. 14 players ultimately pled guilty to charges related to the hazing incident. And the case drew widespread attention across New Jersey, not only because of the number of students involved, but because of how the school district handled the consequences. Despite the guilty pleas, administrators allowed the players to delay their suspensions so they could not miss an upcoming rivalry football game, a decision that sparked outrage across parents, community
Horrible.
members, and education advocates. Yep. Critics argued that protecting a sports schedule sent a damaging message that winning games matter more than accountability or student safety. The controversy led to an intense scrutiny of Lodi High School's athletic culture and disciplinary policies, with many questioning how such an incident could occur during a school-affiliated camp without meaningful adult intervention. The case became a cautionary example cited in later discussions about hazing prevention and institutional responsibility. And in the aftermath, the district reviewed the supervision practices and disciplinary standards, while state officials renewed calls for stronger anti-hazing policies across school athletic programs. And at its core, the Lodi case underscored a recurring pattern seen in hazing scandals nationwide. Group dynamics, peer pressures, and weak oversight combined to produce abuse, followed by administrative decisions that appeared to prioritize sports prestige over the well-being of students, something we talked about earlier. Like many hazing incidents, it left lasting emotional impact on the victim and served as a stark reminder of what can happen when humiliation is normalized and authority figures fail to intervene.
Mm-hmm.
So burn it all down in this case. Like, what the fuck? Like, everybody,
Well,
you
this is
let them push the suspension for fucking rubbing shit on someone so they can play their little game? What?
this is just like
Done.
the one victim that came forward.
You're right. Like, who knows how this may have
How-
been like a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going home. Oh, yeah.
I'm allergic.
Fuck.
I'm allergic to peanuts, so that's scary to me.
Yeah.
But I smearing shit on someone is so degrading, and I wouldn't want to be associated with. If anyone did that to me, there's no way in hell that I would want anything to do with you. If you're gonna duct tape me or hold me down and cut off my hair and smear poop on me, our like rapport is done. Like that is so damaged. There's no way coming back from that. I will never speak to you again. I don't want to be part of a team. I want you to go to jail. That is some sadistic, fucked up behavior. And then for the school to be like, guys, you should have done that, but we got a game to win. Like that's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, guys, I told you, you should never shit on little Jimmy, but you should shit on the Tigers tonight when we win the homecoming game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save the poopy for those losers. Yeah. Dangers. Like, dude, what? Yeah.
Nothing about that seems fun to me.
No.
There were some hazing things that we did in college that, like, I look back, I'm like, that's kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I remember one time we were all in a room and they smeared, like marshmallow fluff in our armpits. And then they put peanut butter, like on one person's head and jelly on another person's head. And we would watch, Scrambled, like, station and listen to the Macarena,
The Macarena.
and then we would have to do it. But when this marshmallow fluff started to harden in our armpits, and then when we would uh extend our arm, it would actually like start to rip the hair out of our armpits and the skin. Like I was completely bruised from the next. And then they would say, "Okay, guys, roller coaster," and then we would have to like lift our arms up like we're on a roller coaster, and they would like tear our skin. It was horrible. And then they would say,
I have to do that too. And I'm a hairy guy, so that really sucked. And yeah, that is pretty bad hazing though.
and then they would say like peanut butter and jelly time, and then we would press our heads against the person next to us and smear it because it'd be peanut butter and jelly. And like I remember being like, this is so degrading, this sucks so much. But I remember looking around the room and I was like, this is so ridiculous. Who came up with this? Like, it's kind of funny. Like, I obviously don't enjoy it, but I'm like, this, like if I could be a fly on the wall, this might be entertaining on some level. I don't know.
At least you're sitting there, but yeah, no, I hated that. That was pretty bad, actually. Maybe I completely like trauma forgot that, but
But then like if the upperclassmen like, all right, Chris, we're gonna haze these newcomers. So like, did you bring a bag of poop? No? Okay, we've got time if you want to go shit in a bag, but we're gonna need that poop for what we're gonna do later. We're gonna smear it on them. I'd be like, what? No, ew, that's not fun, like remotely entertaining. That's so gross.
Yeah, no, fuck no.
Anyhow, all right, well, next up on my list, this I just wanted to highlight Indiana University. Indiana University, I'm sorry, but this might be a shit university. So, Indiana University, if you're listening, get your shit together, guys. So, there's an article from March of 2025 that read 5 hazing incidents, 1 sexual assault reported amid suspension of Indiana University Greek events. The 3 were fraternity issues, and then 2 were sororities. At that time, this is March of last year, so just about a year ago, it says here that currently, this is from March, an article from March. Currently, 13 Indiana University Greek organizations faced disciplinary measures with 8 chapters under suspension and 2 operating under cease and desist orders. Fast forward to November 2025. In Indiana University bans fraternity events after recent hazing incidents. So like they weren't scared enough in March that they kept doing dumb shit and they got in more trouble. So it says here that Indiana University banned fraternities from hosting large social events and serving alcohol following reports of hazing. So on October events at Phi Kappa Psi hospitalized 2 students and Alpha Epsilon Pi incidents injured 3. So it's not
Wow.
just one; it's a bunch of them. The university's vice chancellor for student life said several fraternities are under investigation, with more possible cases still being reviewed. The restrictions include tailgates, which sucks. I love tailgating. It includes tailgates, group activities, and any events involving alcohol. First year students will no longer be allowed to break housing contracts to move into Greek houses, and campus police will increase their presence in Greek life communities. So I feel like there's so many opportunities for people to like reform their institutions. But I guess my question for you, Carlos, is do these suspensions actually stop hazing, or do you feel like it just pushes it more underground?
I will say, obviously, it does depend on the school culture because there are schools who will suspend a fraternity or something, but will be like, all right, guys, you're suspended, but whatever. Next time, we just don't want to see it, you know? And there's the schools that actually mean it. If you do this shit
Yeah.
again, we're gonna fucking get you. So this is where your question of personal accountability, chapter accountability versus school accountability comes in. It depends on the culture of the school whether these are effective or not. Because in the schools where they actually want to do shit, they'll give someone a warning, but after that, they kick their ass out. And you don't want to ever be the fraternity that gets kicked out because they say, oh, you can just go underground. But that's actually like not feasible at all because people don't realize when you go underground, you no longer have a nationals that will send a lawyer to defend you in case shit goes wrong. You no longer have insurance that you can use in case something goes wrong. Like you are on your own and you're fucked. And it's like recruiting underground is increasingly difficult. So even if you're able to do it for like a semester, as soon as someone graduates, you lose your half your chapter already. So going underground is not actually feasible in today's world for a fraternity. It's like the dumbest shit you can possibly try. It's like wanting to be in a movie that just doesn't work, people. So I will recommend that you abide by what the school is trying to do here. And if they're fucking coming after people, then obviously don't be a moron. But again, like at this point, you should not be torturing people anyways. Like what the fuck,
No, I
man?
agree. And I just feel like I don't know. I feel like when the school is like, listen, like you're on the radar, the response should be, okay, guys, like we need to change some things as opposed to, okay, we need to be more secretive and more covert in
So
administering these hazing events. It's horrible. I also like I'm familiar with Indiana. I lived in Chicago for a long time. Indiana is right next door. There's not a whole lot to do there. So I think that if you're that bored, I understand that you want to drink and have fun, but like hazing isn't the answer. Like
right.
get a hobby. I don't know. Like join a sports club. If you really want some action, like maybe don't go to Indiana University. Maybe transfer to a school in a funner area. But
Yeah.
good God, Indiana University, get it together. Like clearly the university has an issue. If all these fraternities are so fucked and they're doing so much shitty, activities, then like, yeah, individually the fraternity should be punished. But like Indiana University, you have an epidemic on your hands.
Exactly. Like clearly they know and they're turned a blind eye to it enough where it's that rampant. So that's also where you say and so that's why when you ask me the question, it's like it's hard to answer because it depends how seriously the school takes it. And if at this point you have administrators who are turning a blind eye while people are getting hurt, and they are complicit. And at some point, they either need to get fired and replaced by someone who does give a damn, or maybe arrested. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be repercussions. But anywho, and I got two more left on my end, and now I'm going to take you guys to Connecticut to show even the yuppies haze pretty badly. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
year 2000 when we were supposed to have the flying car. And see how that turned out. Trumbull High School in Connecticut was having its own hazing case with the wrestling team because in early 2000, authorities uncovered a pattern of violent hazing within the Trumbull High School wrestling program that went far beyond a typical initiation prank. The victim was a freshman student with documented learning disabilities who had joined the team hoping to fit in and be part of something. Instead, according to police reports and court testimony, he became the repeated target of abuse by older teammates. Over a period of weeks, the student was allegedly assaulted multiple times in locker rooms and hallways. Teammates would force him into lockers, they slammed him against walls, they restrained him, and subjected him to degrading physical acts. The abuse escalated to sexual assault using an object carried out while other students watched or encouraged it. And the object was a plastic knife that they stuck up his ass. Yeah. The
Oh
victim,
no.
yeah, and he was a special needs kid, dude. Like that is so fucked up. The victim
Horrible.
suffered physical injuries and later required counseling to deal with the emotional trauma. His parents eventually contacted authorities after noticing changes in his behavior and learning what had been happening. The investigation led to the arrest of 8 students ranging in ages from 15 to 18. 7 were expelled from the school district, and several faced felony charges, including sexual assault, unlawful restraint, and conspiracy. Some ultimately accepted plea deals, which included probation and mandatory counseling. What made the case even more shocking was what emerged about adult supervision, which is something we keep talking about. Another student told police that members of the coaching staff allegedly witnessed part of the abuse or were aware that hazing was occurring and failed to intervene. And while criminal charges were not ultimately brought against the coaches, the allegations sparked outrage among parents and the wider community. The school district launched an internal interview, and the wrestling program was temporarily suspended. The incident forced Trumbull Public Schools to reevaluate their policies around locker room supervision, hazing prevention, and reporting procedures. It also became a cautionary tale cited in later discussions about how hazing can escalate where there is a culture of silence and inadequate adult oversight. At its core, the case highlighted a brutal reality. What began as quote unquote team bonding turned into sustained abuse of a vulnerable student, enabled not just by peers, but by institutional failure to protect them. So, again, the coaches apparently saw this shit, dude.
Horrible.
Like, what the fuck? What?
That coach, I want his head on a stick. What
Yeah,
the
I want it on
fuck?
a plastic. No, I want his asshole on a plastic knife. I want him to know how it feels like, so you can fucking like not do anything about it while you watch your fucking kids rape a fucking special needs child. Like, what is wrong with these people?
But also, like, okay, so I have a
Just bullying a
tangent.
special needs child alone, but now you're gonna rape them too? Jesus.
So I have a tangent of a story, but once upon a time, I worked at Towson Town Center Mall um when I was in college, and I went to like the body shop, um or was it Bath and Body Works or one of
Yeah, yeah,
those?
one of them.
And
And
there's
beyond.
this girl that I was friendly with, and I told her, I think this little girl, this little like teenager, just stole a lip chap, or what do you say, chapstick? I call it lip chap. It's like she just took a lip chap, and she goes, "All right, I'm calling security." I was like, "Over a lip chap?" She's like, "Yeah." And I'll tell you why later. So she called security. Security made a big stink about it. They had to call the girl's parents. They like really like um rubbed her nose in this instance. And afterwards, I was like, that was a lot of like effort for lip chap. She's like, let me tell you something. These little girls, they get away with stealing one lip chap, and then what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's something bigger, and they get excited about it, and then the next day is something bigger. And then years from now, you know what? It's your car or your identity or your pocketbook. She's like, so when you have to teach these kids young that this behavior is not appropriate and scare them into doing the right thing. So I don't agree with her tactic because I thought it was just so like extra. But
Right.
my point is these kids, if they are doing this at the age of 15 and 18, what are they going to do when they're older and having never been held accountable? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? This is the
exactly.
making of like a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why earlier I pointed out to the Aaron Hernandez case. Like, he was someone that was allowed over and over to get away with shit by, colleges and shit that he went to, NFL teams, just because he was potentially a star for them. Like, he broke a bar owner's eardrum, punching him in the head, and the police
Yeah.
department fucking buried it. He apparently shot someone years before he was ever in the NFL, and his college team helped bury that as well. It's later on, no shocker that he starts murdering people because he thinks he's fucking untouchable. And this is what happens. And like Simo said, if you're fucking 15 years old and sticking fucking knives in people's asses, what are you gonna be doing when you're 30? This shit definitely escalates, and it shows like serial killer, sociopathic behavior. So yeah, you got to lay down the law in this fucking case. And
Of
I
course.
will say, at least the district kind of did something, which is why I have this at number two. I do think that, again, that coach, whoever watched this shit, should have his own fucking giant plastic knife stuck up his ass for letting this go through. But at least the people, it wasn't like the last story I shared where the district were like, okay, we're kind of mad at you, but let's get mad after you guys beat the shit out of the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But anyhow, we each have one left.
Anyhow, all right. So my number one is number one for me. Because I think that when um you integrate like social media and someone's assault is like broadcasted amongst a whole school, like that adds a whole nother layer of trauma. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Totally.
like if I was sexually assaulted, God forbid, and it was recorded, and every day people are referencing it and looking at it and celebrating it and laughing, like that would put me over the edge. That horrible.
Yeah.
So this is another really recent one. So I know that this is very similar to a story you told earlier, but this is from 2025 and it integrates an added layer of social media. So uh this is Ursuline High School football. They got in trouble for hazing and alleged sexual assault from this past year. So a federal lawsuit alleged that a student was held down, stripped, and sexually assaulted during team initiation. The assault was filmed and shared amongst teammates and students. The hazing allegedly occurred during a multi-day football camp, and victims claimed the school officials, specifically the coach, dismissed the behavior, saying, as JD Vance would say, boys being boys. So here's the nitty gritty. So the players allegedly held this kid down, stripped him, and humiliated him. So one player is alleged to have sexually assaulted the boy, while other players recorded the misconduct and posted to the team's group Snapchat. The videos
Jeez.
were later transmitted to other Ursuline students and the community at large. The lawsuit alleges that the victim's mother reported the incidents to assistant coach. His name is Timothy Micklin, but said he downplayed the incident by stating, "It's just boys being boys."
Oh
Uh,
my god. No, we made it this far without hearing this is boys being boys.
yep.
Fuck. Fuck. Here we
She
are.
also claimed that she tried to report the incident to the principal. His name is Matthew Samartino, and assistant principal Margaret Demore by showing them the videos and the photos. So the parents have videos of their child being sexually assaulted,
No.
and so went to the school. the coach was like, "Whatever," and then she's like, "I
Boys
don't
will be
accept that."
boys. I
So
would
she went
kill
to the
him.
principal and the vice principal. So
I would kill him.
she
My dad would
alleged
have murdered that coach. Like that coach would not be walking around. If someone says boys will be boys after my dad has a video of me getting fucking like raped by someone, that person is being murdered. Like they're being carried out in a gurney out of there. Like what?
so the plaintiff's lawyer um uh alleges that the principal showed a lack of interest. But the vice principal or the assistant principal acknowledged that this is bad and actually recorded the evidence on her own phone. The lawsuit claims that despite having the evidence, the school failed to perform an investigation or take meaningful disciplinary action against the players or the coaches.
Yeah.
So the school ultimately um, canceled the remainder of the football season amid lawsuits and public outrage. So it wasn't until like this family and the lawyers like made a big stink, and then finally the school was like, okay, this public outrage. I guess now we have to do something to like um, save our asses, but they weren't inclined to do anything until like they were being held accountable. So
Right.
why is this case especially alarming? Well, it includes sexual violence and digital distribution of the abuse. And it highlights how team power hierarchies can escalate hazing into criminal conduct and long-term trauma. This poor kid. And so this is another situation where I feel like the school was like, I don't want to upset our donors. Like, we're known for our football team. Maybe we could just like sweep it under the rug and hopefully no one will say anything and they'll forget about it. But that's not what happens. And so I'm glad they got their ass handed to them. This was
Yeah.
horrible.
I mean, it's kind of hard to sweep under a rug, something under the rug when you fucking send it to everybody in the goddamn group chat. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is wild. This whole thing is wild. Definitely a number one case on your end. Holy shit, dude. And yeah, that person, that boys will be boys person needs to have this happen to them. I never like fucking necessarily pushing violence on people, but once that happens to you, you can then go back and reevaluate if boys will be boys is really the right thing to say to someone after they fucking literally got fucking raped.
I
Holy
know that
shit.
they're minors, but I think of them as young men.
Yeah, no, fuck yeah. And in high school, you know that fucking
Yeah.
raping someone is wrong. Like, I'm sorry. This is not like a fucking like kindergartner or a baby who like pulls down his pants. You know what I mean? Because they're not, like they're not used to wearing them. This is fucking weird. Like this is fucking weird. Like you know rape is wrong. You've been taught. You know, then you can see the news at this point, at least in the background. I'm not saying you watch them, but there's murder shows, like there's everything. Like obviously it's not like you're a baby, you don't fucking understand, and you eat your boogers or your shit. Like, that's a baby. If you do it when you're 16, you're a fucking weirdo, right? Same thing here.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
like, dude, yeah, it's crazy. Wow.
But if you're
Anyway,
gonna hold someone down and you're going to assault them sexually and record it and distribute it in high school, then
that's
when
child
you go to
pornography.
college and you integrate drinking, you are gonna be a menace to society.
Exactly. You're gonna be a fucking like worse than Brock Turner. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
literally be like, wow, yeah. So I'm with you. I'm with you. They should all burn. Anywho, down to my last one here, my number one, where I am going to take you back to the high school I graduated from. Go Hornets! I don't know. I don't know what to say. My 20-year high school reunion is actually supposed to be this year. So
Uh-oh.
but this again, this happened. Let's see, I graduated 2006. So this happened 12 years after I graduated, which is insane to me because you would have think this happened years before I graduated. Like I would have never guessed that this shit was still happening. But on October 31st, 2018, Halloween Day, just before the final JV practice of the season, assault occurred in the freshman locker room during a period with no adult supervision. According to prosecutors, a group of players entered the locker room, turned off the lights, and guarded the single entrance. Witnesses reported hearing a broom handle being struck against the wall and one attacker allegedly announced it was time, signaling the start of the attacks. Prosecutors say that 4 victims were targeted. Players restrained victims on the floor while others acted as lookouts and blocked exits. One victim was assaulted with a wooden broom handle, while others were held down and subjected to similar attacks. Court records and police reports stated that the assaults lasted several minutes and ended before practice began. At least one victim reported the incident, triggering a police investigation that included interviews with players and review of locker room supervision policies. The 4 accused players, all 15 years old, were initially charged as adults with first-degree rape, attempted first-degree rape, and conspiracy. In open court, prosecutors described the conduct as astonishingly cruel and emphasized that multiple players participated in restraining victims and facilitating the assaults.
So I have a question. So
Go
you said
on.
that there's a broomsticks, they were hitting them, but were they also shoving the
No,
broomsticks
no,
up
no,
their
no.
butts?
They were shoving them up their ass. That's what the assaults were. They were raping them. That was
Oh my god.
like fucking prison style rape. Like this is fucking like the shit that you see in the worst of the worst. Like that TV show Oz is some shit
Ooh.
right now. Yeah.
Oh
So
no.
defense attorneys
Horrible.
argued the acts were hazing and sought to move the cases to juvenile court. This is fucking rape, buddy. This is not hazing. This is rape. It's hazing rape. Like I don't know how you can try to dismiss that and lower it. Judges ultimately ruled that the cases would be handled in juvenile court, citing the defendants' ages and recommendations from juvenile services. The hearings were closed to the public, and at least 2 of the defendants later pled guilty to reduced charges, including second-degree rape and attempted second-degrally rape, according to multiple reports. Sentences were handled confidentially. Confidentially, Jesus, I'm having a stroke, under juvenile law, and reportedly included probation, treatment, and monitoring rather than adult prison sentences. The juvenile pleas meant victims did not have to testify in a full public trial. Civil lawsuits and court filings alleged that school officials and coaches were warned about brooming well before the October 2018 assaults, according to
Yikes, so this is like a tradition.
Yes, they knew about this shit. Yeah, what the fuck?
They
According
literally
to
had to sit them down and be like, "Stop putting brooms in people's asses."
they had, they had a school
Crazy.
assembly. They had a school assembly one year, and they brought Broomy, the don't stick brooms up people's asses brooms. He's just covered in shit. He's like, guys, please stop doing this to me.
Oh god.
It makes me feel sad. Oh no.
Oh.
They say I'm the asshole. Wah, 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 wah.
That's so horrible that they have to like address it.
Like, what the fuck, dude? So, according to the complaints, at least one broomstick related assault was reported in 2017, more than a year earlier, but was dismissed by a coach as quote unquote just rumors. Attorneys for the victims said the practice was widely known among players and some parents, and that the team routinely had up to an hour of unsupervised locker room time after school, creating conditions for abuse. The lawsuits also alleged that one of the players later charged in the 2018 assaults had a documented history of serious behavioral issues, including multiple suspensions and accusations of fighting and sexual harassment, and that administrators at a previous school warned Damascus staff that the student required close supervision. Court filings further claim that despite these red flags, the student was allowed to remain on the team and in unsupervised settings. Additional allegations stated that parents had raised concerns directly with coaches that a cell phone video existed showing players threatening a freshman with a broom handle, and that school officials delayed contacting police and notifying parents after the 2018 incident. Attorneys for the family argue that these failures reflected a broader pattern of prioritizing the football program's success over student safety. And in 2023, Montgomery County Public Schools agreed to pay $9.7 million in a settlement, the largest of its kind in Maryland history, resolving claims that the district failed to protect students and respond appropriately to known risk. And I'm not gonna lie, I suck at Montgomery County. I know that ultimately hurts the other students in the future, but what the fuck? I will tell you first things first that going to this high school, the football program was by far the biggest thing there. We went to states like very often. We won it, I believe, twice in the 4 years that I was there. The game was actually played at Raven Stadium in Baltimore. So just to show like how big this Maryland State games are, it was like a pretty big fucking deal to be a part of the team. And those kids would walk around with the Leatherman's jackets like they were the proudest I've ever seen them. And no, I spoke to players that were on the football team when I went to high school and asking them if shit like this happened. And they said, fuck no. So I would like to believe that they didn't get the friends I had in the team didn't get brooms up their ass or rather brooming people. But I do know that they did some weird shit in those locker rooms and I never asked questions. So I'm hoping that this was a later practice that was not going on when I was there. But you can imagine how I feel hearing reports about my high school and this shit going on. It's like, ugh.
You know, these are probably the same guys that would approach the theater kids in the cafeteria and be like, faggot, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're so
right?
fucking gay. Meanwhile,
Yep.
they're doing like super gay shit.
They're literally like butt raping dudes.
Yeah.
And they're calling you gay for wanting to do Fiddler on the Roof in the next play. I don't know. One of those things is gayer than the other,
Yeah.
Can
Can you imagine me like the
so,
custodial staff and like opening up the custodial like maintenance closet and being like, they were at it again. Like,
oh
gross.
shit. God damn it.
I have to
told you, at
clean
least wipe
my
it off.
cleaning supplies because these guys love to sit on my fucking maybe they don't think that it's like hazy. Maybe the custodial staff is like someone is like has a sex addiction and it will put everything in their butt. I don't know. Who knows? Horrible. So horrible.
Anal broom bandit. I'll catch you one day, anal broom bandit. I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, frat chat of all ages, this was a long one, but it had to be because this was a awful hazing volume, awful hazing stories, volume 3. And good Lord, these were awful, all right. So I think I need to go pray to Jeeves or something, take a shower and clean the filth off of me because I am traumatized just hearing all these cases. But let us know what you thought of the list. Let us know if you've heard, if your town had any notable hazing stories. Maybe we'll share them in the future. Shoot us an email, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. Also make sure to send us questions for emails for the listeners. But let us know of any topics you want us to cover, any tea that you want us to cover, like the Kit Rock Turning Point show, anything like that. Any love problems, sexy time questions, you name it, shoot us an email, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com, and we will try to answer the best ones on the show. And also give us a follow on all social channels at Frat Chat Podcast. That's on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /sex, all those good stuff. You can also give me a follow as well. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com, or check me out at Carlos Does the World on Instagram, on YouTube, on Threads, TikTok, Facebook. Carlos Does World on Twitter /X, which I have to warn you, I mostly yell at the government there and say, release the files. That's what most of my Twitter says. You can also get my buddy CMO here a follow. Check him out at chris.moore.comedy on Instagram and TikTok, and CMO Comedy on Twitter /X. Oh, yeah. So, Mr. Mo, it's time for us to go. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to please check in next week when we will do that episode on the Epstein Files, where we'll talk about the top 10 things, the top 10 craziest things we've seen on those files so far. So that being said, Mr. Mo, why don't you please get us out of here?
I motion to adjourn this meeting so I can go sit by myself in the movie theater to watch the Melania special. Have some alone time.
If you need some peace and quiet, go watch Melania. You can hold your birthday party there. It's like you need a wedding venue. Check out any movie theater for Melania. You can fit hundreds in there. So, I second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week with an epic edition, another edition, episode 2 of our new season of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting in time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'll see ya.
Ciao.